Okay, so one of the trees I'm doing this year, I'm going to do a very natural tree with pine cones, grapevine orbs, raffia, things like that. So very simple. So as a lot of you know, I get on Sudbury Curb Alert and find things in town that I can get for free. So I didn't have any pine trees that produced a decent sized pine cone, so I got on there and asked if anyone had them, and they're like, yeah, come on over. So I picked up a bunch of these that I'm going to turn into ornaments on the on this Christmas tree. So I've been doing a little research on how to clean them and get them ready for using to decorate, whether you use it for potpourri, laying on your mantle. I'm going to put hooks on them and use them as ornaments on this very natural tree. So to start, using warm or hot water, I'm going to fill up both of these containers until they're covering the pine cones. One of the things that they say to use is vinegar. Not necessarily a particular amount. But the hot water, the vinegar, is going to clean the pine cones, kind of get some of that sap off of there. It's also going to get rid of the bugs. Pine cones are the seed of a pine tree, so it's also going to rinse the seeds out so things aren't falling off while they're hanging on the tree. So what I'm going to do is get this filled up to a certain point. They're starting to float a little bit now. I want to get to the point where I can get them all underwater. Okay, so that looks pretty full. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take another bin and put that on top, and I'm going to put a little bit of water in this to weight the pine cones down so they're all in the water and they get completely soaked. It also says that a lot of times the pine cones will close up a little bit when they get wet, so we'll see if that's the case here. So I have one of these ready to go. I'm going to get the other one ready to go. They soak for about a half hour to 45 minutes, and then we'll start the baking process. So these have been sitting about 45 minutes, maybe a little more. Now I'm going to empty them out, get rid of that. So you see, a lot of those seeds have come out of the pine cones. That's what you want to get rid of so they're not doing that all over the floor over the holidays. So I'm going to put that there. I'm going to use a strainer like you use for pasta, because you'll notice there's a lot of seeds over there in the water. And you'll notice they've actually closed up a little bit, which I thought was going to happen. But those, again, when they dry in the oven, being baked, they'll open up again and look really nice. Okay. So yeah, you can see a lot of stuff came out of those, especially the seeds. So I'm going to finish emptying the water, picking through some of this, because there's pine needles and stuff that have come out of them while I've been soaking them. So as soon as I get that done, then I'm going to start the baking process. I'm going to use my my good baking sheets. So I definitely don't want any of the sap that bakes to get on the cookie sheet. So I'm going to double up a piece of foil to make sure that it covers the entire pan. So it kind of looks like that. And then I have the cookie sheet right there.
So I'm going to make sure that is covering the whole tray because I do not want any of that sap on the pan. Like I said, I was surprised that more of it didn't come out in the water. But anyway, so again, from my research, I find that a lot of the sap bakes off, so they won't be sticky. So I'm hoping to find that out. So we'll be back just shortly. Okay, so I have been baking the pine cones. The research I did online, there are people that bake them low and slow, and then people that put the temperature up a little higher. I stayed at 300 degrees, so I had to bake them, this batch, for about an hour and 20 minutes, changing them around a little bit, putting them on different racks. But they're opening nicely. I'm going to grab them out of the oven. Just kind of show you. But you'll see how they've really opened up compared to the ones that haven't been baked yet. So they're nice and big. Another thing I'm discovering is the baking is getting some of that sap off of there. It's dripping off. But when it doesn't drip off, it actually bakes solid, so it's not sticky. So anyway, I'm going to get these out, get the next batch in, and then I'll be back with how I'm going to put the hangers on them. Cones, I'm just laying them on paper towel, but they're nice and dry. They're crisp. You'll notice they're a little darker, so they've baked a little bit and changed in color, but they're really, really pretty. But you'll notice now that they've dried, a lot of the seeds have come out even more. So that was kind of an expectation I wasn't aware of. But anyway, I'll be back shortly after the second batch is baked. Okay, so the other set of pine cones are in the oven, so I figured I would just do this and get this part over with. So these are just going to be a simple ornament. I'm not going to decorate them. I know a lot of times you can roll them in glue, dip them in glitter, whatever. You can flock them. The tree I'm doing is very natural, so I just want to use this as a pine cone to hang on there. So I'm going to put hooks on them. This process, I have to admit, is going to be pretty time consuming because I have about 50 of these that I have to do this with. But once you have it done, it's done, and you can store them every year, use them every year. I got this one done. So underneath here, you can get the wire up underneath. So I'm pulling the wire up underneath some of these. Try to be as gentle as possible because now that they've been baked, they're going to be a little more brittle. So I'm going to pull the wire around up underneath some of these little parts of the cone. I'm going to pull that, and I'm going to pull it in as far as I can to hide the wire all the way around. Yeah, so wire all the way around. Then I'm going to put a little twist in there. Then I'm going to get my needle nose pliers, do one more little tug. Yep, that got it in there all the way. And then I'm going to, it's not, like I said, this is going to be a time-consuming project. But once it's done, it's going to be awesome because, again, you can use it every year. So I gave it a little twist. I'm going to get rid of the other little piece of wire there. Give it one more little twist to get that wire incorporated with the other wire. Great. So then, because these are a little crooked, I do pull the wire up and can bring it around. So it does hold on to that. And then I just bring the wire up, put a little hook on it, and there I have another pine cone. So yeah, this is going to be a time-consuming project, but once it's done, I'm going to have great ornaments that I can just hang on the tree to give it a very natural look. I will share the pictures once the tree is decorated.